Hello, hello, Texas teacher here. On a very kind of nippy, blustery day here in Texas, which if you've ever experienced Texas weather, you know it changes quite a bit. But with it being April, you'd figure warmer. Not necessarily, and not today. So on this day, I've been sitting on the couch enjoying movies, and quite frankly, it made me think back to a video I watched recently, and I've got to give thanks to Boogie2988 for giving me the idea for this video. He did a video about the 7 games that influenced him, that made him a gamer, that made him do what he currently does as a YouTuber. And it got me thinking about the games that made me like games, that made me love video games. Because quite frankly, that's definitely where some people love movies or books, and I love both of those, but my love of video games probably tops either of those. So I'm going to be going through, and these are in no particular order. I'm not doing a top 10 or anything like that. These are some games that, quite frankly, influenced me and made me like gaming. Now, to start off with, I'm actually going to go one that made me love what I would consider current gen video games, even though nowadays it's a little old and it doesn't look near as nice. See, everybody else had PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 at a point where, in some cases, I still had just a PS2, or when it was broken, we had a GameCube. So we did not have we. It's very rare that I have current gen video game consoles, and that's only been really in the recent days. But a friend of mine let me borrow his Xbox 360, and he gave me one game in particular with it that I got to play, besides Gears of War, which was something I enjoyed playing with my little brother. Oblivion. And even given, I've gone back to it recently, and the graphics do not hold up as well. But when I first put that game in, and when I first started to play, it honestly, I spent about 30 minutes just walking around looking at flowers, admiring the scenery. And later games have captured that for me as well. Skyrim was a beautiful game to me. And Bethesda has always, to me, done a really good job with this world building they do, where even in horrible landscapes, like, for example, Fallout series, they still look magnificent. And that, to me, was incredible. I mean, how many games do you spend just 30 minutes not doing anything other than just looking around and admiring the scenery, or looking at animals, or whatever? I mean, that to me was something just incredible for the time. Now, another series to me that I really owe a lot to was Command and Conquer Red Alert. If you have never played it, I strongly encourage it. Number one, because it possesses probably the funniest voice acting line ever, and it's due to Tim Curry, who played. If you've never played Command and Conquer, what they do is their cutscenes are played by live action actors. So it's very cool in that way, because you've got the normal gameplay look, and then you have your cutscenes, which are done by actors, and they're hilarious sometimes, especially with Tim Curry playing a Soviet. And he was talking about he was going to go to the one place that's unaffected by capitalism, space. And then he even giggles at the end of it because he's laughing so much at the damn line he's about to give. But that series made me love strategy games, made me love the building games where you build a base and you build defenses and you have resources you have to manage. And that translated later on to Civ, the Civ series, which was always a big one. In high school, we had a guy who, I'm not going to give his name, but he did copies of, I bought Civ 3, and he made copies of Civ 3, and everybody was playing Civ 3 in my group, um, even though we couldn't play online because I didn't have internet at the time when I had that. It was fun talking about, oh, well, we were all having trouble with Montezuma, or we're all having trouble with this other civilization. How are we going to deal with it? Who's going the science route? Who's going the domination route? Who's going whatever? I always loved that. And that series really made me bond with my friends. But I would never have gotten to that point without Command and Conquer and without that kind of real time strategy games. Even though I don't play them as much right now, and I don't play them as much today. Quite frankly, my computer could not handle Civ 6, I don't think. I'm lucky it does stuff like what I'm doing right now and the recording of the video games. So maybe when I get an upgrade, I can look back into the Civ series or the Command and Conquer series. I know they did several after Red Alert, and I'm kind of curious. They went more space age, which I don't necessarily like as much. I like that more simple tanks and everything. The only thing I did love, and it resulted in many problems with my great grandmother, because we had our computer out at her house and we'd go play on the weekends. It was a computer given to us by a family member. And it didn't do much. It really didn't. But the Soviets had a weapon that I absolutely loved setting up. It was called the Tesla coil. And I would say it fast, Tesla coil. And my grandmother, God bless her, kept thinking that we were in the other room saying testicles. So it just led to, what are y'all doing in there? I love my great grandmother to death, but she did not, she couldn't hear well. And it resulted in many fun things. And she, later on, I'm going to talk about another game that she took exception with. But anyway, but this next series is probably one of the best known game series on the planet, bar a few. And, and it led me to a lot of, quite frankly, it led to my love of handheld gaming, and that would be the Pokemon series. When it came out, I got into the anime. God knows why I did, because that first season is atrocious. And this is coming from a guy that watched Power Rangers religiously. Um, which I know, anime, live action, different things, but if I can deal with the campiness of Power Rangers and loved it versus Pokemon and just the, oh my God, it's a miracle that anime lasts as long as it has. Because just the fact that all they can say is their names, and they just got so annoying with it. Oh, that's why I like it. Even the game, the sounds that the Pokemon made were not their names, except later on they retconned where Pikachu could say Pika. Um, even those sounds were not as bad to me. But most of the time with the Game Boy, I had my volume turned off. But without Pokemon, I don't think I would have gotten a Game Boy. And me and my brother, you got to realize our relationship. I'm 15 months older than my little brother, but we also did the hero sidekick mentality. Like I was Batman, he was Robin, I was Walker, he was Trevette. If you don't know who that is, watch Walker Texas Ranger. Roundhouse kicks to the face abound. But I was usually we did things together like that. However, when it came to Pokemon, I got it for my birthday, and it was something that I had, but my little brother didn't. That I didn't have anybody to play with, and even my parents and my grandparents knew that Pokemon could be played together. So not too long after, my little brother got his own Game Boy, and he got red, I got blue. And I loved that. And then later on, there was a Christmas where I think my dad honestly made a mistake, and he got me silver and gold Pokemon games. I didn't want both. That was the point. I wanted one for Tyler. So what I did is took one of my Christmas presents. I took gold and I gave it to my little brother. But we always had the link cables and we always played on trips. And I love that, the trading aspect of it. Even though there were times where I know I made my little brother restart his game like 3 or 4 times so I could get all the starter Pokemon. I know he helped me farm way too much on Pokemon, but that was something I always enjoyed. And then we'd take that to school as well. And I know we had a guy when I was in middle school who had cheats. And so I got a Mew from him, and I think I got a blue Mew. That's what it was. Just an odd thing because he had Sapphire. That was one of the few Pokemon games I never got. And Silver and Gold is where I stopped. Unfortunately, now lately I've started picking up on another one on my DS, but that's a series that I unfortunately let go. I'm gonna have to get into it again one of these days and get a 3DS and play the new gens. But anyway, so we've got Pokemon, we've done Command and Conquer, we've done Oblivion. Ah, story. If you have watched any of my videos I've posted about story on my channel, you know that's a very big aspect to me. That is a very crucial thing to me. And the games that pulled me in, that captured me with that story, were great. And to me, the first game to really do that was one of the first games I ever got for PlayStation 2 when we got one for Christmas. Final Fantasy X. I absolutely loved the story of it. I love the characters, the voice acting, the laugh scene that has been so comically mocked over the years. Ha 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 ha, etc. That is one of the most annoying moments in video games to me. May have to do a list of those. But it's a great damn story. And even though the sequel to Final Fantasy X, X-2, was not that great to me, the combat system was different, the gameplay was different, the continuation of that story was awesome. And I love that. And to be honest, I really wanted closure to that story because it did leave some doors open that I didn't like. But that series, I want to say, and I've never played through 7. That's one thing that surprises a lot of people because usually that's the first Final Fantasy people finish and people play. That's not one for me. When everybody else was playing Final Fantasy 7, I had a game, excuse me, called Legacy of Dragoon, which was also a really great damn story. But it was also 4 disc. Oh my God! When I got to playing that one, my brothers hated it. Only thing they hated worse was a game series called Xenosaga, and that was a good damn series. I liked it, but they didn't because I played them all the way through, and it took a while. Anyway, Final Fantasy X, that story, that gameplay really got me into RPGs, and that's continued today in Final Fantasy 15 for me, and some of the others. Even though I've got more action RPGs than I do others, that series has still been one of my big ones. Final Fantasy series, gotta love it, and I cannot wait till 7 Remastered comes out, and I can actually play through that damn story. Even though I know the basics of what happens from movies I've watched, like Advent Children, and from just general videos, seeing spoilers and cutscenes, I still really look forward to playing it because I love strategy games, and that always has an aspect of strategy, especially with knowing how your turn's going to go, what your enemy might do, different things. But I love RPGs, and JRPGs have always been a been big thing for me. Whew, excuse me. Now, but as far as stories that can change, where it's never the same thing twice, there's one game that stood out to me, and it's a PlayStation 2 game. See, the PlayStation 2 has been by far one of my biggest consoles because it's a console that I had the most out of anything I ever had. Because I had a PS3 when everybody else had PS4s. My PS4 I've only had for, give or take, a year, maybe 2. And with that, and I've even changed out some of the equipment on it. But anyway, PS2, Deus Ex. And any of you that have played the new ones, Human Revolution, Mankind Divided, that's great. I prefer the original with J.C. Denton, where you craft the story, where you make the choices, who you kill, who you don't, who you save, where you go affects the story. And to be honest, I don't think the story has ever played out the same way twice. Even with me trying, there's little things I noticed, like, oh, I didn't know this person was back here. Talk to him. That girl shows up later, or that guy, if you didn't kill him, kills that girl so she doesn't show up. But other people are pissed about that. I love that aspect to it. And to be honest, even though Fable did similar because it makes you do the whole good bad route, changes your appearance, possibly changes how people react to you. That to me was done by Deus Ex. Deus Ex to me was the height of story, and that's one of my favorite games of all time. And I loved playing through, even though I did cheat like hell. I put God mode on or infinite ammo or whatever. I loved that series, and that's one that if I had half a chance to get it on PS4, I would. And I've honestly never played a Deus Ex. I played a Deus Ex since then. I've never beaten a Deus Ex since then because to me none of them are as good. Because even the current Deus Exes are set before that one. The only one that's come since then was Invisible War, which was only on the Xbox and was a piece of crap from what I've heard compared to the original. Okay, well, those are a few games that have influenced me over the years. And maybe one of these days I'll do another list or do a full on top 10 of which games I think are the best of all time. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. In the comments, tell me some of your favorites. What of games have influenced you into gaming? Um, anyway, this has been the Texas Teacher. Class is dismissed. I hope y'all have a good day.